So, most of you have probably by now heard the interview I had with Andrea Nicholson. Andrea is a special guest that we had on this week, and Andrea spoke a little bit to who she was before she became a healer. Who she was a forensic scientist. This is somebody who went out there and investigated crime scenes and dug down by looking in places that the average person doesn't look to find out how and why things happen, and then reported on that. She stated that it was almost too much for her, too sad for her, and it led to a significant amount of stress, which clearly led to some of her imbalances in her life and especially also in her physicality. And she was able to get tested in her late 20s and found out that there was significant dysfunction in a few of her panels that the cardiologist set forth. And then the next year, she got worse, even though she followed directions. So she became a little bit skeptical about the treatment. And then she took another panel that was even a deeper dive, and she had gotten even a little bit worse than then. So Andrea eventually learned how to get better. She followed her own snout. You know, she like sleuthed around and went to places that the average person probably couldn't go or wouldn't go, as far as her reading and talking to people and exploring what might really be at the bottom of her health issues. She did that in a way that somebody who was, completely obsessed with finding the scene of the crime and the cause of a criminal action might have taken steps in that direction. And she actually got to the bottom of much of her own issues. There was a core set of issues that had her be unbalanced, and she saw that if she dealt with, for instance, her insulin and her relationship with other aspects of her life, that she was able to make some gains that actually led to her risk for heart disease going down as a direct factor. So this is a little bit about what the crime scene is all about inside of conventional healthcare. The idea is that we as doctors are not really given all the proper tools to do an investigative forensic search, an investigation that is really important inside of exploring why dis-ease or imbalance or dysfunction shows up in anyone's body, mind, or soul. And we have some things that actually work for nearly all conditions. If you heard Andrea's interview, she often said things that would actually work for any condition. It's her hope that people don't have to take supplements at all, even though she does offer them on occasion, using herbal type supplements primarily, or nutraceuticals. And there's something like the opportunity to get that our body will heal itself if we're healthy and sound and treat it properly. So if we explore a lifestyle that works and we are good with being social and being creative and being with ourselves, then we can make the similar gains in our health than what might be promised and usually not delivered in the allopathic or conventional world. So Andrea is now a metabolic investigator, and in this way is helping people around the country actually make good decisions for themselves. She explores their health situation primarily online and then offers her services to those who are interested, such that they can find new lifestyle habits and actually explore ways to rebalance things that are discovered to be out of balance, and to do so with the least amount of intrusion possible. One thing is almost for sure is that Andrea will be the last person who suggests that allopathic medicine is at the core of the issue, although she did state on some occasions that allopathic medicine can be useful, especially for people who have been on the medicine for a while and have no real likelihood of coming off of them anytime soon. I really appreciated this idea of Andrea using her forensic skills as a scientist, and then through her own journey of recovering through her own imbalance and her own dysfunction, her own discomfort, her own dis-ease, She was able to acquire a new level of passion and a new level of interest in becoming a healthcare provider in her own right. So, as a metabolic specialist, she does her work in a very similar way that she did as a forensic scientist, exploring the bottom line and looking at things, looking at different functions differently than what she was initially taught. A lot of what Sherlock Holmes and Watson did was along those lines. And this is something that is really important when you're looking at the scene of the crime as an expert. What kind of alternative ways can we look at issues that might even discover how and why and where and when certain insults took place that eventually led to the um, dysfunction that we see that we're called to assist on. So we as healers are often called to assist on the dysfunction of heart, mind, body, or soul. And it is up to us to diagnose or to discover what's at the bottom of that. This takes a healthy clinician to do that. Not only a clinician who has to be healthy in order to resonate with their client or patient, but someone who has to be healthy so that they can explore all the many ways that something is really showing up and move out our stories of how they got there and actually move into what might really be contributing to the imbalance or the disease or the dysfunction. I found Andrea to be completely compelling in her capacity to articulate her issues and how she got to be who she got to be. It would be my suggestion if any of you are having gut issues or digestive issues to really consider that Andrea is a great clinician to explore. And she will give a 45-minute discovery call to anyone who calls her. And that's really a great idea as well for anybody interested in really exploring any kind of internal imbalance that you might be experiencing. So it is at this time that I just want to thank you for listening to this short about the scene of a crime. The scene of the crime out there in the community is very similar to the scene of a crime inside of our body. A crime has been done in that what is here has left some degree of chaos or disarray. It is up to the investigator to use their investigative and creative skills to find out what's really at the bottom. And conventional healthcare doesn't necessarily teach all its providers how to do that. It takes someone with enough courage, like Andrea, to step out of the box, learn new ways to look at these kinds of things, explore them, and then deliver them with the confidence that she does, and then actually act on her own findings. So I applaud Andrea Nicholson. I'm so glad to have had her on as a guest. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I hope you enjoyed this short, and we will catch you at the next podcast. Thanks, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.